Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Hoy vamos a aprender a convertir el inglés básico del día a día en Business English. ¿Qué te parece? Esto es como tener un superpoder que va a hacer que tu inglés profesional mejore muchísimo y con poco esfuerzo. Y me dirás, hombre, ¿con poco esfuerzo? Pues sí, y ahora en un momento te diré cuál es la buena noticia. En este vídeo vamos a ver 25 verbos en su versión básica y los vamos a transformar en la versión business para que a partir de ahora siempre tengas a mano la versión pro de estos 25 verbos tan comunes. ¿Y cuál es la buena noticia de la que hablábamos? Pues que verás en este vídeo cómo la versión más business o más formal de los verbos se te hace incluso más fácil que la versión común o del día a día. Y esto es porque en inglés muchas palabras formales, que son las que usamos en contextos profesionales, vienen del latín, igual que el español. Y entonces ya verás cómo te van a resonar muchísimo porque son muy parecidas al español. Y la última cosa que te quería decir antes de adentrarnos en el vídeo, to dive into the video, es que la versión informal y la versión business de un mismo verbo no siempre son sinónimos absolutos. Por ejemplo, to give, to provide, to tell, to inform. But I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet. If you're interested, keep watching this video. My name is Kay Maudsley. I am a lawyer working at a pharmaceutical company and I am certified by Cambridge to teach English to adults. In this channel, we talk about how to improve your business English to sound more professional and feel more confident when using English at work. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Y como siempre, he recopilado todo lo que vamos a ver en este vídeo en un PDF para que lo puedas tener a mano en cualquier momento que lo necesites. Así que si quieres acceder al PDF, lo que tienes que hacer es darle clic aquí abajo al link en la descripción del vídeo, poner tu correo electrónico, suscribirte a mi lista de mails y recibirás tanto este PDF como también los futuros PDFs que vaya haciendo en los próximos vídeos. He ordenado los verbos de más fácil a más difícil, así que ya verás que a medida que vayas progresando en el vídeo, verás que la cosa se complica un poquito más. Number 1, to talk, hablar, which in a formal register would be to communicate, comunicar. So we have to talk and to communicate. Let's have a look at some examples. If I was speaking to you, I could say, let's talk to the team about your ideas for the project. Now, in a business setting, I would say, let us communicate your project ideas to the team. Now, talk and communicate mean the same in many contexts, but in some situations they might have slightly different meanings. Just like in Spanish, to communicate can mean something more than to talk. It can refer to the successful transmission of a message, whereas to talk refers to the simple act of speaking. For example, if I say, you know, we talk all the time, but it feels like we're not really communicating. This usually means that I'm not truly connecting with this other person or that we don't really understand each other. So, talk and communicate are synonyms, but can also have slightly different meanings depending on the context. Number 2, the verb to buy, comprar. In a formal tone or business setting, we would say to purchase, which could be adquirir in Spanish. For example, I need to buy a new laptop because my old one is too slow. The business version of the sentence would be, we need to purchase new laptops to enhance the efficiency of our operations. Both of these sentences describe very similar, if not the same, scenario, but the first one is informal and the second one is formal or more suitable for a business setting. Number 3, help, which would be ayudar in Spanish, is transformed to assist, which would also be ayudar in Spanish. For example, he's going to help me plan the party. Yay! In a formal context, this sentence would be, he will assist in coordinating the event's organization. So the verb to assist is more formal than the verb to help. Another important thing is that in the first sentence, we've used a contraction. We say, he's going to, he's going to. This means he is going to. But in the second sentence, we don't use any contractions. We say, he will assist. We don't say, he'll assist. We say, he will assist. This is because we use contractions in everyday speech or informal writings. but not when you want to maintain a professional tone. Number 4, to start, empezar. To initiate, which would be iniciar. In this case, initiate is more formal than start. Let's have a look at some examples. We should start thinking about the team dinner. If we want to transform this sentence to a formal phrase, we could say, we should initiate discussions regarding the organization of the team dinner event. I usually like team dinners. They can be lots of fun, especially if there's a team building activity like a murder mystery or something like that. You think you know your colleagues until you do one of these activities with them. Number 5 is the verb to tell, which would be decir. And in a formal tone, we could use to inform, informar. Let's have a look at some examples. If I was speaking to you, I could say, let me tell you a secret. And the formal version of the sentence would be, allow me to inform you of a confidential matter. No, that's a joke. That's probably too formal just to say that you have a secret to tell. Let's have a look at another example in a business context. I'll tell everyone about the change of plans. In a business setting, we could say, I will inform all stakeholders about the change of plans. Number 6, to get, which means conseguir. And the formal version would be to obtain, which means obtener. Applicants need to get the right certificates to qualify. Or candidates must obtain appropriate certificates that demonstrate their eligibility. Number 7 is the verb to do, which is hacer in Spanish. And a more formal version of this verb, although they're not absolute synonyms, would be to perform. In Spanish, we could say llevar a cabo or hacer. The research teams need to do a detailed analysis of the data before showing what they found. A more formal version of the sentence would be, the research team is expected to perform a thorough analysis of the data before presenting their findings. So to perform is more formal and more suitable for a business context than to do. Now in the second sentence we say to perform a thorough analysis. Thorough looks like a very complex word. It means detailed and careful analysis. Minucioso would be in Spanish, and it's pronounced thorough. Thorough. I think in America would be thorough, so they do the sound O in the end. Thorough. In British English, thorough. But any of these are fine. Number 8, to show, and a formal version would be to demonstrate. So if I was talking to you, I could say, I'll show you my new app. But if I was giving a presentation, I could say something like, I would like to demonstrate the functions of our new application. And again, show and demonstrate can be synonyms in many contexts, and they both involve presenting or displaying something to others. But there can be differences in the details. Show is a more general verb that simply means to reveal or present something visually or verbally, while demonstrate implies a more deliberate or formal presentation, often to prove a point or to illustrate something. Number 9, to end, which means acabar, and the formal version would be to terminate, which means terminar. Let's have a look at some examples. The board just voted to end the partnership deal right away. If we want to transform this into a formal sentence, we could say, the board of directors has voted to terminate the partnership agreement with immediate effect. So to terminate is more formal, more suitable for business context, especially in writing, than to end. Now the second sentence says to terminate the partnership agreement with immediate effect. With immediate effect is a term that's used a lot in legal contexts. I'm a lawyer and we use the term with immediate effect a lot in agreements to indicate that something happens from that moment, so right away. And in an agreement, it's actually from the moment the agreement is signed, but anyway, that's more a legal topic. It means right away. Number 10 is to need, necesitar, and the business version or formal version would be to require, requerir. You need at least 5 years of work experience for this job. Now, if we want to transform this sentence into a more formal business sentence, we could say, this position requires a minimum of 5 years of professional experience in the field. Number 11 is the verb to give, which means dar in Spanish. And if we want to transform it to a more formal tone, we would say to provide, which in Spanish is proveer. Although I think proveer is not used as much as provide. We use provide quite a lot, especially in business settings. To provide. Let's have a look at some examples. Do you think you can give us a detailed report on how the project's going by the end of the week? And a more formal version of the sentence would be, please provide a detailed report on the project's progress by the end of the week. Now, to give is a more general term than to provide, and to give usually focuses on the act of transmitting something to someone, while provide usually implies making something that has been requested or that's needed available to someone, and it's usually used in a professional context. Number 12, the verb to fix, which means arreglar, and a formal version would be to amend. So if I was talking to you, I could say, the company needs to fix its rules to match the new laws. In a more formal tone, the sentence would be, the organization must amend its policies to comply with the new regulations. Number 13, to check, which means comprobar in Spanish. And a formal version of to check is to verify, verificar. Verify is more formal than check. Let's have a look at some examples. You should check your email more often. In a formal tone, this could be, you should regularly verify your email for updates. Number 14, to change, which means cambiar. To modify, which means modificar. Modify is commonly considered more formal than change. Let's have a look at some examples. We should change our shopping day to match what we actually need in stock. And if we want to give the sentence a more business tone, we could say, we should modify our supply procurement day to align with inventory needs. Number 15, to keep or to keep around versus to retain. Let's have a look at some examples. Good communication and support really help to keep customers around. On the other hand, effective communication and support systems are crucial to retain customers. To retain and to keep or keep around can be synonyms in many contexts, but to keep around has a more casual and a more physical connotation. It usually suggests that you want to keep something close or handy in case you want to use it in the near future. Retain, on the other hand, is more formal and it can refer to a broader range of scenarios. It doesn't necessarily imply physical proximity. For example, I keep my goggles around in the kitchen in case I have to peel onions. That means I keep them close, and it's actually true. Number 16, to improve, which means mejorar, and to enhance, which also means mejorar. But enhance is more formal than improve. Let's have a look at some examples. I have to improve my speaking skills, or I must enhance my speaking skills. Now, there are only two things that change the tone in these sentences. The first one is enhance instead of improve. And the second one is that in the informal version, we say I have to improve. And in the more formal business version, we say I must enhance. I must and I have to both express necessity or obligation, but I must is perceived as more formal and it's commonly used in written English or in formal spoken contexts. I have to is usually more relaxed and used in everyday informal speech. Number 17, the phrasal verb to sort out. And if we want to make this more formal, we would use to resolve. Let's have a look at some examples. We're trying to sort out any problems customers have to make sure they're satisfied. Or we aim to resolve all customer complaints promptly and efficiently to maintain high satisfaction levels. Now, both sort out and resolve both convey the idea of addressing or remedying an issue. However, sort out is more informal and is commonly used in everyday language and situations, and it's wider than resolve. The verb solve would also be a synonym of the verb resolve, and it's used in both formal and informal contexts. Number 18, to grow, which means crecer. and to expand, which means expandir. Let's have a look at some examples. The company is thinking about growing its business into Asia next year. Or the company plans to expand its operations into the Asian market next year. Number 19, to deal with, and a more formal version, more suitable for a business context of this verb would be to manage. Let's have a look at some examples. The company deals with a variety of investments to avoid risks. Or the company manages a diverse portfolio of investments to ensure risk mitigation. Number 20, to ask, which means preguntar, and to inquire, which means inquirir, but I think inquirir is not used as much as to inquire. For example, we wanted to ask if your conference spaces are free for our upcoming meeting. Or we wish to inquire about the availability of your conference facilities for our upcoming meeting. Number 21, to go up, which means aumentar or subir, versus to increase, which means incrementar. Let's have a look at some examples. We're planning to go up in the market by rolling out some new products this year. Or we aim to increase our market share by launching innovative products. Number 22, to try, which means intentar. And a formal version would be to endeavor, which means also intentar. So if I was talking to you, I could say the research team is going to try to find solutions to tackle the problems that climate change brings. A more formal version of the sentence would be the research team will endeavor to explore innovative solutions to the challenges posed by climate change. Number 23 is the verb reduce, and a more specific business version of this verb is to downsize. Let's have a look at some examples. The company is planning to reduce the number of people working here to make things more efficient and save money. Now, a more business version of the sentence would be the organization has decided to downsize its workforce to streamline operations and improve efficiency. Now, reduce is a versatile term that can be used in both formal and informal contexts, in a daily basis or in a business setting. But downsize tends to be more specific and often only used in a business context. Number 24, to pay back, which in Spanish would be pagar or pagar de vuelta, devolver. And a more formal or business term to say pay back would be to reimburse, reembolsar. Let's have a look at some examples. The company is going to pay back its creditors soon to keep things stable financially. Or the company is committed to reimburse its creditors in a timely manner to maintain financial stability. And number 25, this is the last one, so you really got to the hardest ones. To roll out, a more formal version of this verb would be to launch. Let's have a look at some examples. The government's about to roll out a new plan to help small businesses in the countryside. Or the government is set to launch a new initiative aimed at promoting small businesses in rural areas. And this is all for today. Espero que hayas aprendido mucho. Y si quieres me puedes dejar en los comentarios si conocías todos estos verbos, cuántos conocías. Y como siempre nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo. Bye!